All right, Instagram fam, we are back. Here we go. And we have Miss Bundles live with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you? Glad to be with you.
We are good. We're so glad you're here. This is really history in the making. So,
What I have enjoyed listening to your conversation because some of the things that you were saying about working 24 hours a day and are things that Madam Walker absolutely went through. She said I had many sleepless nights, so you understand.
oh yeah, absolutely. I felt like I was in the story.
A apostrophe capital Lelia, a black name. And she said, do you have a connection to Madam Walker and A'Lelia Walker? And she insisted that I write my paper. And that was in the mid 70s. So since then, I've written 4 books. And I'm almost finished with the first major biography of A'Lelia Walker, Madam Walker's daughter.
Wow, that's awesome. Story. Wow. Yeah.
So it's this Netflix series is a cherry on top of a very big sundae. There are so many things that we've been working on with Madam Walker.
So what are some other things that you have coming down the pipeline? 'Cause this was amazing, and I would love to hear the story of her daughter's story.
Right. Yeah, because in the film, of course, there is a lot of creative license. The Esther character is not a real character. So, and A'Lelia Walker is, I think, what part of the reason I'm writing the book is that she was a major patron of the arts. But when you read the paragraph in a Harlem Renaissance book about her, they just really diminish her and she's just a party girl. But she's so much more interesting than that. But the things, in addition to the books, people can certainly visit my websites, AleliaBundles.com and MadamCJWalker.com. And we're doing updates and blogs and videos that are on those websites. But we have a lot of other initiatives. I'm especially proud that there is a line of hair care products inspired by Madam Walker, MCJW, manufactured by. So my name is A'Lelia Bundles, and I am Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter and biographer. I'm a longtime journalist, so those skills that I learned with 30 years of being a television news producer, I was able to put to use when I began writing about Madam C.J. Walker. And my book, which was originally titled On Her Own Ground, The Life and Times of Madam C.J. Walker, is the inspiration for the Netflix series. And I will just show you that, as you can see behind me and right here, this is the new edition. It's been renamed Self-Made to go along with the series, with Octavia Spencer's photo on the cover. I've written a new epilogue and done an audiobook. So I spent more than 20 years doing research. So I write nonfiction, factual versions of the story. And Hollywood has taken this book and used and done some creative license and made 4 45-minute episodes.
Okay, that's really awesome. So for those of you that caught that, so some of the movies, you said it's based on a true story, right?
Right, based on a true story. So what you see when you see Octavia Spencer, who is, I think, really fantastic in this role, from Octavia Spencer, you really do get this sense of Madam Walker's courage and tenacity and what it takes to build a business, all of the ups and downs, the sacrifices, the personal sacrifices, the setbacks, but also I think in the end, you see that it's not just about her making money for herself, that she is empowering other women, that she has become a philanthropist and a patron of the arts and a political activist. All of that doesn't fully come out because you cannot put 250 pages into 3 hours. But I think the overall sense of the character that Octavia Spencer plays, that she is very convincing for me as Madam Walker and the things that she went through.
Absolutely. So what was like your driving force? Like what made you want to tell your great-great-grandmother's story? What was that for you? Like what was that like for you?
So this really is a lifelong journey for me. I really started discovering things that had belonged to her and her daughter when I was 3 years old and going through my grandmother's dresser drawer. I wrote my first report in high school about Madam Walker and A'Lelia Walker 50 years ago. And
Wow.
then when I was in graduate school, I was at Columbia in journalism, and my advisor, Phyllis Garland, was the only Black woman on the faculty. And she recognized my name, which is spelled A''L-E-L-I-A, a Black name. And she said, "Do you have a connection to Madam Walker and A'Lelia Walker?" And she insisted that I write my paper. And that was in the mid-'70s. So since then, I've written 4 books. And I'm almost finished with the first major biography of A'Lelia Walker, Madam Walker's daughter.
Wow, that's awesome.
Story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this Netflix series is a cherry on top of a very big sundae. There are so many things that we've been working on with Madam Walker.
So what are some other things that you have coming down the pipeline? 'Cause this was amazing, and I would love to hear the story of her daughter's story.
Right. Yeah, because in the film, of course, there is a lot of creative license. The Esther character is not a real character. So, and A'Lelia Walker is, I think, what part of the reason I'm writing the book is that she was a major patron of the arts. But when you read the paragraph in a Harlem Renaissance book about her, they just really diminish her, and she's just a party girl. But she's so much more interesting than that. But the things, in addition to the books, people can certainly visit my websites, AleliaBundles.com and MadamCJWalker.com. And we're doing updates and blogs and videos that are on those websites. But we have a lot of other initiatives. I'm especially proud that there is a line of hair care products inspired by Madam Walker, MCJW, manufactured by Sundial Brands and sold at Sephora.com. So Richelieu Dennis, the founding CEO of Sundial, is the person who really brought the Madam Walker line back to life, and it focuses on exfoliants and conditioners and all kinds of hair solutions. In addition to, and of course I use MCJW, but there are 2 national historic landmarks related to Madam Walker, the Madam Walker Legacy Center in Indianapolis with a beautiful, that's where the company was headquartered for many years. And then Villa Lawaro, Madam Walker's home in Irvington, which now is owned by a foundation that is connected to some of the activities that Richelieu Dennis and his family are doing. The New Voices Fund, which is a $100 million venture capital fund for women of color entrepreneurs. So there are lots of things that are related to Madam Walker. I think this is her moment. I'm so excited about it.
Her legacy lives on.
It lives on. Yeah.
Her legacy is still affecting young entrepreneurs now.
I think that was really she was the catalyst for a lot of what we see now in the industry. You know, had she not had the tenacity and the drive that she had, who knows where that would have landed for us, for hair care, for Black women, for the industry period. So for that, we have to...
Yeah, and it goes also to show you that there's no reason why anyone should give an excuse at this point, because during that time, there was still a lot of turmoil that wasn't really addressed, in the first segment of the movie. That if she was able to accomplish so much during that period, just amazing. Imagine what we can do now.
Yeah, and not have somebody to look up to, like you said, she was the standard.
Yeah.
Now she is the standard now. She's the benchmark now.
Yeah.
I
noticed that some of the people who are commenting on this feed are actually asking about Annie Malone, who was another really important African American woman. The character in the film, Addie Monroe, is really a composite character, and the dimensions of her life are fictionalized. So I think people really do need to understand Hollywood tells the broad emotional story of Madam Walker's life, but there are a lot of details that are fictional. And in the case of Addie Monroe, the real life Annie Malone was somebody who Madam Walker knew. Now, Madam Walker learned about hair care from her brothers who were barbers. That's when she really got the first inkling of hair care. She sold Annie Malone's products for a while. This whole idea of her stealing the formula, that's just not really true, but that is in the movie. Because the formula was really something that had been around for a very long time. But she was a Malone agent for a long time. But these women both were giants. They were both pioneers of the modern hair care industry. So it is important, I think, for people to know more about both of them. Annie Malone was a philanthropist, but Madam Walker, I will have to. is somebody who was a master marketer, and she knew how to empower other women. And she was very smart about surrounding herself with a very good executive team. And she knew how to create leaders. So I think, and then sometimes people will say to me, why do you think Madam Walker is more remembered than Annie Malone? Quickly, she died at the height of her fame in 1919. Annie Malone lived another few decades, and her company declined. She went through a bad divorce and had some other setbacks. But Amelia, her daughter, persuaded her to move to Harlem. And by being in Harlem in 1913, they were at the center of things, the center of media, the center of culture, the center of politics. And that, I think, elevated their platform.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was a real character, but if more broadly, you would say that it was kind of like a lot of what she went through, like drawn into who Addie Malone was, and it wasn't necessarily like I was portrayed in the movies, correct?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I will say what I write about in my book, and because based on the historical factual research, so the Hollywood version takes a lot of creative license. But I would say in the reality of Madam Walker's relationship with Annie Malone was not a light-skinned woman. So that is that's sort of pushed into the story.
Yeah. Okay. I would be curious to know. I know that.
But it's also true that I don't think Annie Malone was that, after a point, after she'd worked for her for a while, she wasn't the centerpiece. That wasn't a main motivator for her, but that's in real life. So that's why I know I really encourage people to read the book so that they can learn what that real relationship is. This is a Hollywood version that tries to condense characters and time and issues and themes together.
Okay. I just have a quick question. So, considering the viewers have only seen the first segment, the first series, or first installation, yeah. Is there something in the book during that time period that you would want us to know about that you thought was significant that was not included in the movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, the movie actually starts in Indianapolis, and the house burns down, and that didn't happen. So she, I think that what is important to know, she was in St. Louis. She was born in Delta, Louisiana, moved to St. Louis, struggled as a washerwoman, as a laundress, then moved to Denver. Denver is actually not even in there, but she moved to Denver, and that's really where she started her company. And then she and CJ Walker traveled all around the Southwest and southern United States, settled in Pittsburgh, where she opened her first beauty school in 1908. And she actually didn't arrive in Indianapolis until 1910. But by the time she got to Indianapolis, she was already really quite prosperous.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're definitely going to have to get this book and make sure that we read the book to get the details.
Yeah, we want the truth, all the details.
Right. But see, I think the film has inspired you, and that's kind of the purpose. For me, if it lifts people up and encourages them, and especially I saw something on Octavia Spencer's Instagram page today where she said during this really difficult time that we're going through, she's thinking many people are going to be at home. They're going to be coming up with ideas. People are going to be starting their businesses. Now, people with businesses are going to be challenged because nobody could have planned for this. But let us use these moments and let us use this inspiration to try to develop our own thing. Entrepreneurship in our community needs to be elevated. That's why I'm so excited about what Richelieu Dennis has done with the New Voices Fund. You all should just Google New Voices Fund and get on everybody who's an entrepreneur on here and get on their mailing list, learn about the opportunities that are created and the various investments and training that can help you become a better entrepreneur.
Oh, I'm definitely going to look that up. I haven't heard about that, but I will look that up.
I love the fact that she was even though certain obstacles were coming her way, she was very fluid. She was able to kind of change the direction and make it work for her at that moment. she was able to solve a problem, or based on the dilemma that she had, she was able to not stop there and get discouraged, but find a way to become even better. Yeah. And this is something that entrepreneurs, or during this time that we're dealing with now, that if you have a passion or an idea,
to get it out.
You may not be working, but take this time, self-reflection, and take this time to think about what you want to do for yourself. Come up with a plan.
Yeah, and timing is so crazy, right? Because it didn't click to me. I know that we're in this pandemic and we're in this quarantine, and there's a lot of creatives, especially in this room right now, and it couldn't have come out at a better time than right now. This is the time. The movie dropped so many gems, and it inspired me throughout the entire thing. I already watched the whole thing. This is the time now to see that opportunity. This came out at the perfect moment, and it is. They did a beautiful job of putting it together to inspire all of us out here and to inspire everyone there. So
I think the viewership is going to be really high for this movie. I think Netflix is going to be really surprised about the number of people who are going to really watch this. Considering everyone's at home right now and looking for ways to spend some time. So this is right on the money, right on time.
Yeah. Well, and I think people have been hungry for this story for many, many years. The number of little girls who write their reports about Madam Walker, and the number of entrepreneurs who are inspired by her. I heard you earlier talking about people not really believing in you, not having self-confidence when you're starting, and really having to pull that from deep inside. One of the things that Madam Walker said is that when she first started out, when she was in Denver getting ready to go on the road, she and CJ, that her friend said, "You'll never make train fare from one town to the next." Wow. And she said, "I knew that I had something that was going to sell. I knew that I had a great product, and I just kept pushing." And that happened over and over again. What you see in the film, and I think maybe this is in the next episode, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but there is a scene with Booker T. Washington, so people who haven't seen it yet should be on the lookout for that. And then when they read my book, they can see there were a whole lot of other things that went on. It's slightly different from what happened in the book, but she really does speak up to the most powerful Black man in America. She gets that confidence and that courage.
Yeah, but help her out. We're not going to spoil that. But
that moment right there was like,
there's a moment. There's a big moment, and we need to have more moments like that today. Yeah, that was a big moment.
We do. So tell everybody again, if they're just joining on or you guys missed it, how can they find your book and how can they reach you?
So they can find my book, Self-Made, on Amazon.com, on BarnesandNoble.com, on my website, Alelia Bundles, ALELIA Bundles.com, on MadamCJWalker.com, MadamCJWalker.com. And I will be happy to sign and autograph a book if they order from my website, but you can get it on Amazon. We can't really go to the bookstores right now, but it's at the bookstore as well.
But they can order online.
They can order online. And it's also an audiobook. I just recorded the audiobook about 5 weeks ago. So it's fresh off the presses.
Oh, yeah.
So we can drive?
We got that audio at the same time?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay, there you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we just had a delay. But it's I'm so glad to have the chance to talk to you today, and I really it was good to hear your stories about the challenges of entrepreneurship. I think that for me is the inspiration of Madam Walker, and if I can, I would just like to share a few of her words with the audience. Please, because it is this time when we have to really dig down deep inside, stay calm, stay courageous, and be leaders in this really difficult moment. And she would say, when people asked her the secret to her success, she would say, "There is no royal flower-strewn path to success. And if there is, I have not found it. For whatever success I have attained has been the result of much hard work and many sleepless nights. I got my start by giving myself a start. So don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come. You have to get up and make them for yourself."
wow, anyone can use that lesson. I mean, that just goes across all,
Clear across the board.
yeah, regardless of age, sex,
Oh, yeah.
anyone can utilize that. That's a nugget.
You didn't learn anything
Yeah.
else. Take that and run with
And
that
I was so
quote.
happy you're sharing the story,
Yeah,
and
me too.
it's come to life as a movie.
Yeah.
You know, so I think a lot of young girls will be able to see this as well.
Oh,
You know, my daughter will be watching this.
I was gonna say this new generation needs to hear this story and needs to know like the impact that she made and the path that she paved. So this is right on time for so many reasons. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
writing and sharing this story with the world. Like we appreciate it. We appreciate you even taking your time right now to
Yeah.
My
talk
pleasure.
to us about it. So thank you so much for that.
Well, and I actually have a children's book too. So when you go on my website, you can see that. So for 4th to 7th graders. So we try to cover all fronts.
Is that entrepreneurship as well?
Yes, it's her biography. It's just a children's version of the same story. So I tell all the high points about her life. And you know, a lot of kids do their reports on Madam Walker. So I love helping kids do their reports.
Oh, I love it. Y'all hear that, Netflix? That's an animation opportunity too.
Animation or some creative directors or animators. Need to talk to her. This is awesome. I'm so happy to be part of this conversation. I didn't expect all of this. This is great. This is really a historical moment for me.
It really is. This is such it is. It's like, oh my gosh, do you guys know who I'm talking to?
Right.
Today?
And to know that you are part of the legacy and you are still keeping the legacy alive
And
by
the
sharing
legacy
it
is
with
going to continue.
other friends.
Yeah. It's going to keep on growing. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for the books that we're going to continue
I'm
to
ordering on Amazon.
I'm going to order one.
My
Yeah.
husband already has one at home. We were looking at it this morning, but we're going to order one on Amazon because we need your signature. We
Yeah,
need
I
your
have one
copy.
time.
Yes.
All right. So speaking of the book, we have another winner. You said it was DeWitt Lee from New York. You have just won yourself an autographed copy of the book. All right. Well, did it disconnect? Okay. Well, that's it.
Yes,
This is
that was
good.
great.
That was so
Yeah.
great. So if you haven't already, make sure you watch out the rest of them. We have a couple of shout outs that we want to make. We want to shout out the Natural Beauty Fest that's happening here in Jacksonville, Florida. It's on June 25th, I believe. July 25th? Yes. We'll be well out of quarantine for that. So the Natural Beauty Fest here in Jacksonville, Florida. I know I can't wait for that. I love everything natural hair. So
Yeah, that's going to be amazing, and hopefully we can continue the conversation there.
Oh,
Who knows?
absolutely.
I mean, what an inspiring place to do that.
Absolutely. We'll
Yeah.
continue to have these conversations. So one more time, Christine, how can everybody find you and your products?
Yeah, so here are products right here. And I know maybe the next segment we're going to do a giveaway on the products, but check me out at jonesandrose.com. And the products are designed to moisturize your skin using natural base ingredients, and they leave you smelling effective.
And like a literal snack. I get compliments all the time on my George Peach. So
Really good.
So I want to say, Eric Durant here, thank you so much to Black Films Matter. Thank you so much to the Influence crew for letting me facilitate this today. You can follow me at Curls, Curves, and Convo or Curls, Curves, and Convo with Erica D on Facebook. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you catch the other 3 episodes if you haven't already. Stay safe, social distance, and wash your hands.
Yes.
Oh, we got another giveaway?
No, just thank one more person.
Oh, yeah.
Ernestine Morrison from the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. We just couldn't
Oh, absolutely. And another thank you to Ernestine Morrison from the Tulsa
Real estate.
Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Ernestine Morrison from the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Got it.
We thank you
Yes.
as well. So thank you so much. And you guys have a wonderful Saturday.
Yes. Cheers to that. Cheers to a great conversation, to many more.
Cheers. Bye.